So Saturday night was a pretty big night for your boy. It was probably one of the best experiences I've had in this career of YouTube and covering, wrestling as a whole here on my channel. Saturday, I was finally given the keys to the Announce team car, something that I've been vying for a very long time. I got introduced to the owners of GCF, I want to say in 2017 in March, during a show at Bar Wrestling, which is hosted by Joey Ryan. And when we first had, talks, the main plan was for me to be the cameraman because at the time, YouTube was my go-to. I only had like probably 600 subscribers at the time I met Wallace and Saint. But they really were looking for a cameraman, a guy that could edit their videos, a guy that could edit promos, because that was one of our keys in the beginning, was to get as much promos as we can. And the limited amount of people that we had in the company at the time, we wanted them to be working on promos and promo schools and all like that. So I would record them, I would get them ready, I would set them up, and we would sit down and, work together, have these meetings at the parks or behind garage doors, and just, really lay out the landscape of what we wanted to do here at GCF. But I never once really stood up and said I wanted to do more than just be the cameraman. That was mostly where we were headed here in that direction, was that Hollywood's going to be the cameraman. And that was probably before I really let Hollywood become the persona. I think at the time the channel was still called Clickbait, the Clickbait Podcast or Clickbait Entertainment. That's another story for another day. But the one thing that the essence of what I was supposed to do with GCF was to be the cameraman, was to to film all their shows moving forward. And that plan worked out for a couple of shows here and there. But I started to notice that they had better cameramen, better equipment, better setups and stuff like that. And I felt like I didn't need to be in that position anymore, because as much as I enjoyed, filming stuff and setting things up and editing them, and I did enjoy that for a while, it started getting old after a while. And it wasn't because of them. It was more because of me and where my mindset was at the time, especially when you're me and you're filming off of an iPhone. It makes it really weird to keep doing that, you know what I mean? Because I'm filming off of an iPhone in a tripod, and then they had somebody else filming off of this beautiful 4K camera with beautiful tripod set up. My budget was very limited. I didn't have the equipment that a lot of these kids had, and I felt like I was doing them a disservice by showing their product on a worser camera when they had all these other guys that were shooting it like they were Martin Scorsese almost, or Todd Phillips, or name your favorite director. This is all the cameras they legitimately had. Well, here's the boy with the iPhone and the tripod standing there like this. It didn't fit into the plan for them, and it's a presentation thing. I just felt like I could be doing more than just a cameraman. Thankfully for Matt's and Mark's, I think because of that podcast, I was really able to establish myself as more than just Hollywood the cameraman, and turn more into Hollywood Holguin, the journalist, the news anchor, the one that gets all the reports done. The way I was able to talk but know a lot about the history of wrestling, number-wise, and stuff like that. And I think that caught their attention, that, I was more than just the guy behind the camera. Now, in my real life, I gotta be honest with you, my boys, I don't talk all that much. I'm a very shy, quiet person to himself. It's an anxiety thing where I'm always afraid that I'm gonna say something stupid, that people are gonna judge me, which I shouldn't really care what people say about me, but I really do. And I always have. As the only child in the family, you really start to care what you say, and you don't want to say the wrong thing. So I've always held myself back in that perspective. But on podcasting and on this channel, I've been really able to release myself a little bit more, in a different aspect, artistically, podcast-wise, and just mindfully-wise. I talk way more elegantly, way more freely when I'm on camera than I do in real life. The Hollywood Holguin persona is totally way more free and not as shy as the real me. It's a weird concept, but and it's a funny concept in a way. But whenever I'm on front of the camera, I just have a way of talking that's totally different from the way I talk in real life. And I think Saint and Wallace really noticed that when we started doing the Matt's and Mark's podcast, which is every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific on free admission on YouTube and Facebook. Like always, I'll make sure to leave a link. I'm pretty sure we're probably going to do an episode tonight because we want to talk about all the things that happened Saturday. But let's fast forward through all the stuff I've just been going through. So Saturday, here we go. I positioned myself, I convinced Saint and Wallace to give me the opportunity to be on the announce team with my boy TJ Swab, because TJ Swab, fantastic talent, that dude, fan favorite, the fans love him. He is comedy gold, as I might say. Myself, I love him. The kid is fantastic, and thank goodness he was there for me that night on Saturday. Because, I finally get the opportunity. They greenlight your boy. I'm going to be on the announce team. I'm no longer filming. Finally, I went from being the cameraman for almost 2 years to finally sitting my butt down and calling the match, play-by-play, live action wrestling. I sit down, your boy's feeling all the butterflies, all the nerves. Look, I got to be honest with you. I thought I did terrible. Gonna throw that out there. I thought I did terrible. I thought I was shit. But I'm always gonna be my worst critic. I'm never gonna give myself the full props I think I deserve. I'm always gonna be the one that says, Hollywood, you were trash, you were terrible, you did an awful job. And that goes for anything. My biggest dream is to eventually film a movie. And if I ever do film a movie and I ever do release it to the world, I'm probably going to be the one person to give it the biggest negative review I possibly can. That's just how I roll. I know it's a stupid way of rolling, but it's the way I roll. So I thought I did a terrible job, but thank God for the people that work for GCF. They all came forward, said I did a killer job, that I nailed it out of the park. My boy TJ said I did a fantastic job. Saint and Wallace, they said they loved it. They wanted me to continue to be the announcer on the announce team moving forward for GCF. My boy Rossi, my boy Rossi. Man, he sent me a fantastic message over Instagram telling me that I did a fantastic job and that I'm great at what I do. And stuff like that really makes my day. For whatever reason, I crave to be told I do good, and I shouldn't really care what people think, but I do, and I always have. And so when I get those thumbs up from you guys, or when you guys leave those awesome comments in my comments section, gotta be honest with you, when other YouTubers say, we don't care about that, I care about that. That stuff brings your boy up. It makes your boy happy. It brings joy to my life in the world where a lot of things aren't really going well. In a year that has already been a complete mess, and we're only in freaking February. Don't even get me started with that, my boys. But end of the day, I think that my biggest issue in the beginning of doing the announce job for GCF was just the pacing. I couldn't get the pacing down in the first half of the show. Like, the pacing was just too fast for me. It wasn't like a podcast where you're really able to talk in your own speed and your own tone. The pacing in the wrestling match, depending on the wrestling match, it just goes ham. It goes 100 miles per hour. There's no stoppage. There's all these movesets being done. I kept drawing blanks because that's my life. Worst case scenario, I stopped forgetting, even though I knew the movesets that a lot of these fantastic wrestlers that continue to work for GCF. And I can't tell you this enough. Saturday's show may have been the best show, and I think it was. I'm going to clarify that right now. Saturday's show was definitely the best show in GCF history. Hands down, I'm going to say it loud and proud that Saturday night's show, GCF's Assimilation, was the best show in GCF history. Not only that, it was probably the best crowd in GCF history, and it honestly had the best energy in the GCF dojo that I have felt ever in any GCF-related show. We absolutely killed it. Everybody involved in that show was so fantastic, from our champion caddy in his main event to Vintage Dragon to Rossi, to Saint and Wallace, to even Declan, even though we don't know if he's part of Skynet or if he's Lando Calrissian. We don't know. Those answers, I'm sure, will be, or those questions will be answered at a later date, I'm sure. From the middle matches, from the Tony Reyes match versus Tarek, from DI, Helmuth, are the people that ran the food court and picked up tickets and sat people, to our fantastic host from the night, Quincy Jones. Matt Quincy, I thought Quincy really started the level of energy from the get-go. Like, that dude's energy when announcing the said wrestlers that are coming down our entrance ramp just added a wrinkle to the show that it desperately needed. So shout out to Quincy Jones, a fantastic friend. If you're wondering who gave me that Hollywood bandana, it was Quincy. So shout out to my boy Quincy, because he gave me that Hollywood bandana that I'm going to be rocking proudly for every GCF related show moving forward. Again, it was a fantastic night, and TJ also, again, fantastic fantastic as always. Shout out to our boy Eric too, because our boy Eric, he was on production. He was really helping us set up the live stream and all the wiring and the microphones and the headphones and et cetera, et cetera. Eric really came up clutch, and we were working with new equipment that we didn't even test. We just used it that same day, and it ended up working fantastically for us at the end of the day. So GCF Assimilation was fantastic. From my POV though, the beginning of it, I had butterflies. I botched a couple of things here and there as I tried to get my footing down. And again, pacing was the biggest issue. But once we went to intermission and we exited intermission and we went into the whole second half of GCF Assimilation, I really thought the second half for me, I had the tempo down. I had the pacing down. My energy was into it. I wasn't nervous anymore. The first couple of matches, I was all over the place. But once we got into the second half of the show, I was locked in. I was ready to go. I could feel that energy from the dojo. I could feel that chemistry that me and TJ had, because we were able to bounce off of one another and really get into the match quality and really get into what was happening inside the ring and add that true storytelling element that I feel GCF shows were lacking, and the energy that it was lacking, that we just immediately just put into this show. And you could just really tell that this show felt like the stakes were high, the match's quality was high, and the energy was very high. And I feel like that energy and that presentation really added to what GCF is all about, because we're all very excited for the match card at the end of the day. We build it up every single week on Mats and Marks, but to finally have it done and to be there and to be sitting there with my headphones and a microphone and TJ next to me and Eric on production and seeing the action in the ring and seeing Quincy on the side there with his mic controlling the music as well, which Quincy had two jobs. He had to announce the wrestlers that were coming in and also work on the music because the DJ didn't show up. It like always, day of the show, nothing ever goes according to plan. Nothing for any show ever does. It's just the way it goes in this business. But at the end of the day, GCF Assimilation went off with a beautiful hitch. It was a fantastic show, and I'm very excited to work again for them. I'm very excited to announce the next show, which is coming up in a month, GCF Maximum Carnage 2. Very excited for that. Your boy will also be announcing for that show as well. That is currently the plan. As always, the card is subject to change, but I'm very excited. Now that I know what to expect, now that I have my footing down, now that I know the pacing of the match, now that I know a lot of the movesets of the matches, I think the next show we're going to be even better. And I think as soon as we continue on this route moving forward, I think I'm only going to get better with it. And like I told them, I did apologize because I felt really bad that I messed up a lot here and there. But as they said, they thought I killed it. As long as they're happy, I'm happy, because that was my biggest thing. I just wanted them to be joyful and happy with how I did it, because I really pushed to get this opportunity. Like, I really pushed to get that moment, to be there, to call that match. It took a while to get there, from being the cameraman, and it kind of went full circle. Because I took myself from meeting them at Bar Wrestling in 2000. I want to say 2018. I'm not sure. Either 2018 or 2017. It's one of my most watched videos as well. It's the night that the Bullet Club invaded Bar Wrestling. Cody, the Young Bucks, Hangman invaded Bar Wrestling, which is the main reason why me, Rossi, Eric, and Saint Wallace all went. So I met them there, and we introduced each other, and from that moment on began this partnership. So it's crazy to think that day we're at Bar Wrestling, to fast forward all the way to 2020, and I'm sitting there at an announce table calling a match for a wrestling match. You gotta understand, I've been dreaming about being in the wrestling world since I was probably in the 6th or 7th grade. Me and Rossi, as you hear construction, because there's always construction out here. So that neighbor is always throwing shit around. Sounds like he's building Iron Man over there. Hopefully that doesn't pick up on the mic, but if it does, my apologies. Me and Rossi have been friends since the 7th grade. So I've known Rossi a very long time. It's a very personal message there for you guys. And we were always wrestling fans, hardcore wrestling fans. Rossi used to get in. Rossi, I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this story. Whenever our teacher, we used to have math together, Mr. Gallipo, algebra or whatever it was. Whenever he would turn around to write on the whiteboard, Rossi would go on top of the table and start doing the DX suck it sign. And we always just had talked about how we wanted to be in the wrestling business, how we love pro wrestling. We were there for each other when we lost Eddie Guerrero. We were there for each other when the Chris Benoit tragedy happened. No matter how you feel about that story, we lived it. We were in high school, junior high, when those incidents happened. So we lived those moments, and we talked about those moments. And God, I wish we would have started a podcast then, because God, it would have been so big by now. Can you imagine back then in 7th grade? That was, I don't want to say my age, but because it's depressing. But that was about 13 years ago. Wild that 13 years later, here we are working for a wrestling company, and Rossi is part of the show. He has a beautiful partnership with Caddy, and now I'm announcing the show, and from being the cameraman to being the announcer. And Rossi will be back, by the way, on Hollywood Uncensored. I just wanted to do this podcast because, I really want to get this off the ground. We only have 2 episodes, and I really want to start podcasting more. And this is a very visual one. Not every Hollywood Uncensored podcast is going to be visual like this. The ones with just me will be visual like this. The ones with Rossi probably won't. They'll just be the recordings of it. But I think podcasting is really going more towards being audio and visual, because people really like to see who's talking to them. So I thought, why not throw in episode 3 and just have myself talking to them and really recap what happened on Saturday, even though we're going to also recap it tonight on Wednesday on Max and Marks, which I will always leave a link for that in the description or in the community feed on my channel. But anyways, back to podcasting and wanting to bring podcasting onto this channel. Fun story for a lot of you new subscribers, or some of you subscribers that weren't here from the beginning. When I started this channel, originally the name for this channel was the Clickbait Podcast. And when I created this channel, originally I wanted it to be... let me get a drink of water before my throat goes out. By the way, that was another thing that happened Saturday. Your boy lost his voice towards the end. Like, if you listen to the audio, and by the way, the highlights from my announcing is on the channel. It's like over 58 minutes long, so I understand why people probably don't want to watch it, because it's probably just way too long. But if you can, please go check it out. But if you listen to it, or you watch that 58-minute video, you can hear my voice slowly but surely start to break and cut off as the show goes on towards the end, when Joey Barone hits a vicious knee of justice on our boy Caddy, our champion Caddy. I try to call it as best I can, but my voice cracks so bad. I'm like, the knee of justice. My voice was just so shot by that point. It's hard, man. Calling a 3-hour show, not easy. Not easy at all. Let me wet the beak just a little bit before my voice cracks. So we're only on the 17-minute mark. I don't know how long this is going to be. Hopefully it goes up, because this good old piece of shit laptop hasn't been working for me lately. It's been a biatch to save any video on my iMovie. Yesterday I re-downloaded it, so hopefully that works. Hopefully I can get this up to you guys as soon as possible. Because this laptop is ending it's nearing its end. It's finally nearing the final saga of its story. I'm probably gonna have to go buy a new one, which I don't want to, because laptops aren't cheap, but we'll get there. It's just Grand Theft Auto right next door, because those assholes. Anyways, but this laptop is finally ending its end of days, so it's unfortunate, but that's what it is. Anyway, so when I started this channel, the original idea for it was for it to be called the Clickbait Podcast. And it was only going to be a podcast channel. That was the original conceptual idea for this channel. And it was going to be me and my boy, Orangey. He's been on this channel before for some live streams. He was with me when we did the live stream for the NBA draft. That video has over 600, 700 views. So you've seen him on this channel before. But the original plan was for me and him to have this podcast together where we wanted to talk about sports, music, and movies. It was going to be our interpretation of First Take, but the Mexican edition. That's how we kind of thought about it. But we just never got together. My first 4 episodes of the Clickbait Podcast, which were all 2 months separated. I had no idea how to do this shit in the beginning. But my first 2 podcasts, I think, was me and my girl. And then a couple of them were with my dad. And then a couple of them were just me solo. And then I just stopped doing them. I don't know why. I kept doing it every 3 months. So I had 14 subscribers from in a year span. I did YouTube for from January of 2017. I want to say, or 2016. I'm so bad with years. From then to a whole calendar year, I had 15 subscribers or 16 subscribers total, and 6 episodes in a year. 6 episodes. And entering that new year, I really said I gotta do something, because this isn't working. I have 16 subs in a year. In a year, my boys. it wasn't working out. So I decided, okay, we're gonna flip the switch, and I never wanted to become a reaction channel. That was one of the things where I tried to be like, I don't want to be a reaction channel because I didn't want to deal with the stuff that I'm dealing with now, and I deal with every day: the copyrights, the blocking, the YouTube copyright strikes, and how YouTube copyrights every single thing. The video I uploaded on Monday, the 58-minute video, got copyrighted because of a 7-second song, which is "We're on a Boat." Like, that video is completely copyrighted. I can't monetize it because of a 5, 6, 7-second clip of "We're on a Boat." That's one of the reasons why YouTube is just, it's annoying. And one of those things is that, like, that's why I didn't want to become a reaction channel, because I knew, my channel is going to grow faster, but it's also going to, be frustrating to monetize a lot of these videos, because a lot of these videos are going to be copyrighted. And lo and behold, I ended up becoming a reaction channel. I started doing reactions to just movie trailers, and, I'd get the copyrights from Universal and Warner Brothers. Disney never cares. That's the funniest thing, that Disney is the evil empire of movies. But at the end of the day, they never really care about copyright. They always allow me to do my videos on Disney, and I never hear a peep from them. The videos are monetized. I do a video for Warner Brothers, copyright. I do a video for Universal, copyrighted. Sony, copyrighted. Lionsgate, copyrighted. It's kind of frustrating because you don't make anything from those. WWE as well, Lately, they've been kind of lenient. They'll give me like a day where I can monetize the video, and then they'll demonetize it and copyright it the next day. So WWE has been a little bit lenient this year, which thankfully so, because WWE has become a big namesake on this channel. You guys love when I do those top 10 Raw, SmackDown, NXT reactions, and I love doing them. But it's very frustrating when you edit a video and you put it up, and then you get the demonetized copyright sign or email, or I've had moments where they take the video down, and I start thinking, is this even worth it? Because I've had issues in the past where they take videos down and I get a copyright strike. One of those instances, which was New Japan Pro Wrestling, and the New Japan Pro Wrestling one was so annoying. It was so frustrating working with New Japan Pro Wrestling on this, because me and Rossi went to a New Japan show about 2 years ago in Long Beach. So we go to the show, I buy the tickets, we go to the show, and I vlog the experience. And I probably film like 10 seconds or 15 seconds of like 4 matches, which was like the 4 main matches. Like, there was a tag match, the Marty Scurll, Will Ospreay match, the finale match, which was like the Golden Lovers versus, I forgot who they were facing. I filmed like 3 matches total. I think I filmed a couple of Cody's match versus when he won the US title, the IWGP US title. So I filmed like 4 matches, but for like 10 seconds, just as little clip-ons to add to the vlog. The vlog was mostly me and Rossi going on this adventure that we were sent by GCF. We made some bullshit storyline. So for like probably total, the video had probably a minute's worth of action from New Japan Pro Wrestling show, and the other 12 minutes of the video were me and Rossi hanging out, me and Rossi showing up, me and Rossi getting in line, me and Rossi sitting in our chair, me and Rossi leaving the show, me and Rossi discussing the show, me and Rossi ending the video. And so a minute, that 1 minute from a 12-minute video, which was one of my favorite videos ever, gets copyrighted by New Japan. But not only that, they send me a copyright strike for a 1 minute clip of 4 different matches. So then I have to email them and contact them and pretty much beg them to remove this copyright strike, because once you get a copyright strike, it's almost the end of days for your YouTube channel, because then you get a 3-month suspension, then you can't monetize your videos, and it becomes this whole hoopla of a mess. So I'm emailing them, literally begging them at this point, which I'm feeling stupid because I don't feel like I should have to beg them to not to like take this copyright strike off. If you want to demonetize the video, fine, demonetize the video. I'm fine not making a cent off that video. But removing the video and also giving me a strike, which puts my channel on jeopardy, because if I get one more strike accidentally, because that happens sometimes with these automated systems that YouTube has, my channel's gone. I'm terminated. And nobody wants to deal with that. I don't want to lose my channel. So I had to pretty much email them and beg them. And thankfully, they emailed me back and they're like, okay, we understand. Don't let it happen again. So I'm like, okay, cool. They still don't allow the video to go up. I'm like, why isn't the video back up? They're like, we don't want our video of our show on your channel. They made it seem as if I as if I streamed the entire New Japan show on my channel, as if the video was a 3-hour watch along of said show. And I've had these instances before on here. I remember I did a live reaction to, I think, like Survivor Series or SummerSlam. I forget which one. And I showed 0 WWE footage. 0. It was like this, just me sitting behind my laptop, reacting to what was going on my laptop as I watched along. And I had my live stream going. I've done it before for many times. And WWE took the video down because they said that you could hear Seth Rollins' entrance music in the background. So a 4-hour live stream of me reacting to an entire, I think it was Survivor Series card, was taken down because in the very distance, you could hear a very minimal sound of Seth Rollins' music saying, "Burn it down." And the whole video was taken down. YouTube's funny like that. It gets ridiculous sometimes. But anyways, so I went from being clickbait podcast to becoming clickbait entertainment. I didn't know David Dobrik had taken the namesake of Quickbait. I know that now that David Dobrik owns that pretty much. I'm shocked he doesn't call his podcast that, but he does call his merchandise Clickbait. So that would have never worked anyways. So I went from being the podcast channel to transitioning into a reaction channel. And that brought a lot of subscribers. So that really rejuvenated this channel. It gave this channel a second chance. And I just dealt with all the copyright bull that I had to deal with. And I still had that itch to do podcasting, but I didn't know how to introduce this because I don't think anybody on this channel really cares for a podcast. The people subscribed to me at this moment really just want to see the reactions, and they want to see reactions to Joker stuff, DC stuff. They want to see reactions to WWE, AEW, New Japan stuff. But it gets difficult with reactions nowadays, especially with the climate now on YouTube. You never want to see or give them a chance to get rid of your channel. And it gets difficult here and there. So I'm not here to say that I'm not doing reactions anymore. That will always be a namesake on the channel. I will be doing reactions all the time, but not for every single movie. For movies now moving forward, I want it to be movies that I care about. Because I've done so many reactions in the past for movies that I did not give a rat's ass about, but I made myself pretend to care about it because I knew that it would give me some views here and there. But I think I've reached that point of, I don't want to say my career, but of this YouTube journey that I've reached the point where I don't want to do a reaction just for the sake of doing a reaction. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to do a reaction just because I need a video today. I want to do reactions to stuff that I care about, you know? If there's a new DC movie, like when we get the new Wonder Woman 84 trailer, gonna do a reaction to it. When we do a reaction to any Marvel movie, hell yeah. Or Marvel show, absolutely. A Disney movie, yes. A Warner Brothers property, absolutely. When the Batman trailer finally drops or when they finally show us the new Batman suit, I'm gonna react to that. WWE stuff, absolutely. The top 10 reactions are always going to be on this channel because I don't think it's fair that my videos get taken down and then I go on YouTube and I see other YouTubers do the same videos and their videos are still up. So I'm always going to do WWE top 10 reactions. Raw, NXT, sometimes SmackDown. SmackDowns are difficult because it's Saturdays, and Saturdays usually I have plans. But NXT and Raw, always. You'll always find that on my channel, for sure. But what I'm trying to get to is I'm starting to transition to not just doing reactions. I want to bring podcasting also to the channel. Like Hollywood Uncensored is definitely going to be a namesake on this channel now moving forward. I want to make this a weekly thing. If it's just me or Rossi or however we do it, we'll figure it out. But Hollywood Uncensored is definitely going to be a namesake on this channel. Now, I don't have a specific day I'm going to upload this podcast. It could be on like today on a Wednesday. It could be on a Friday. It could be on a Monday. Just depends. But Hollywood Uncensored is going to be a weekly podcast on this channel. So don't think I'm getting rid of reactions. I'm just giving you guys more stuff to watch, you know? And if you guys want to watch my podcast, more power to you. If you're only in this channel because you want to see my reactions, and more power to you as well. Whoever watches the stuff I upload, I love you anyways. Slap that thumb as always. I'm also going to probably be doing more vlogging because I do miss vlogging. I like vlogging my little adventures when I go to Disneyland or when I go to LA or Santa Monica or stuff like that. So you'll probably see some vlogs here and there. I just want to expand my game. I don't want to be held to one regard and just you have to be a reaction channel only. that has kind of turned me off a little bit. And doing this podcast is a little bit exciting because it just adds a new wrinkle to what I really want to do, and just adds stuff to it. And it's a really nice callback because, again, originally that was the idea of this channel. So yeah, more podcasting heading your way. So Hollywood Uncensored is going to be a definitely namesake on this channel. 2020, man, has not been a very good year though for your boy so far, and we're only in February. It's been more lackluster than I thought it was going to be. Like doing the announce job for GCF really brought your boy up, even though, again, I am my toughest critic. But I really felt a pure joy doing that, and hearing that I did a really great job brought a lot of joy to me. But 2020, whew, man, it's bringing some toughness to the world in general. Found out yesterday that they laid Kobe and Gigi to rest, and that stuff really took me out, man. I'm still feeling the negative effects of that. It's not easy when you wake up and you realize your hero isn't here anymore, and you see it everywhere, and it doesn't get any easier any other day. I definitely want to go to that Kobe memorial that they're going to do at the Staples Center, I believe on February 24th at the Staples Center. I don't know if the tickets are going to be on sale or what the plan is, but I definitely want to go to that just to pay my respect to a man that changed my life, to my hero. I really felt it yesterday for whatever reason. I had date night yesterday because it is Valentine's week. So date night is appropriate. I don't think I'm doing anything on Valentine's Day. I think we're waiting until Saturday to go to Disneyland or something like that. But for whatever reason, yesterday it really hit me. Like, it really hit me bad. Like, and it hadn't hit me in a while. In the last few weeks, the last couple of weeks, and I don't know it's been 2 weeks now. It's not even the last few weeks. The timing right now has just been weird, man. The timing has been so off. Let me wet the beak real quick again before my throat goes out. Timing has been weird. It feels like it happened such a long time ago already. It really does. Still doesn't even feel real. It doesn't feel like it's reality, but it is. But for whatever reason, yesterday, it just hit me. I don't know, maybe because finding out that they had that private burial, which is awesome. That, the public wasn't aware of it. Not awesome that happened, but awesome that they were able to be together in private. Because if people would have found out, you would have had the media there, and ESPN and ABC7, and the fans would have shown up. It's shitty as the situation is. I'm glad that Vanessa and the family was able to have a private ceremony and funeral and have their own time with themselves to really say goodbye and pay respect to two of the greatest of all time. And we'll have our moment as an audience, as fans, as the community, to pay our respect on the 24th of this month. But yeah, it hit me. It hit me really hard yesterday. Like, I was really down. Like, I was frustrated for one because this laptop is annoying me, and then reading that stuff just, it breaks your heart whenever you remember it. It really does break your heart. It really sombers you out when you remember what happened and that it's reality. The trade deadline, the NBA trade deadline came and went. I know a lot of you were asking me about Kyle Kuzma, what I thought. I'm not a Kyle Kuzma fan whatsoever. A lot of you know that. I'm not. I thought the Lakers should have moved Kuzma. Only because I don't think Kuzma really adds anything to the table. I think if you're not going to start Kuzma, then what's the point of having him? I know there's this thought process that, he's going to be a great process off the bench. He's going to score off the bench. He's going to be our sixth man. And it hasn't worked. I think Kuzma needs to be a starter if it's going to work. But I'm not high on him. I'm really not. He's going to be, 26 years old? And he's going to be asking for a boatload of money. Not because of his play, but because of his marketing. The kid is getting marketing up the yin yang. He just got a new one that he promoted on his Instagram. He has the hookup with Puma. He's going to be asking for probably around the ballpark of 17, 18 million a year. I don't think he deserves it at all. Because again, he's a really underrated defender, but he takes a lot of nights off. You know what I mean? Like, he's not always, you can't rely on Kuzma. But the potential of him is enticing. And I thought the Lakers should have bought into that, and they should have sold his potential and his marketing to a lot of these teams. Now, I have been told something that very much annoyed me. And I don't know if you guys heard about this, but I'm going to let you guys know about it because it is confirmed. So Darren Collison pretty much screwed the Lakers. Like, screwed the Lakers. Not only did he screw the Lakers by not coming out of retirement, but I was told by a little birdie that Darren Collison pretty much told the Lakers that he was coming back. It's not a coincidence that Darren Collison was hanging out with Jeannie Buss the same day as the trade deadline. Now let me paint this picture for you. The Lakers pulled out of trading for Marcus Morris because they had another Kyle Kuzma trade on the table. This was the trade that I have been told from reliable sources, and not just myself, but a lot of people have been told this. Now, Jeannie wants to keep Kuzma. That's her goal. She loves Kuzma. That's her boy toy. Whatever. She wants to keep him. But she did give Pelinka the green light that if he found a trade that was good enough to move Kyle Kuzma, pull the trigger. Now, from what I've been told, the Nets and the Lakers were engaged in the trade discussion that was going to see Kyle Kuzma and Danny Green traded to Brooklyn for Spencer Dinwiddie. Spencer was going to come to the Lakers and give the Lakers the point guard they desperately needed. Now, Spencer's underrated, and he's pretty much not being used, or he's not going to be used correctly in Brooklyn anyways because he's playing second fiddle to Kyrie Irving. But Spencer is a fantastic player, and if given the opportunity, he was going to ball out. He wants to be a Laker. He wanted to be a Laker. He loved Kobe. He even changed his number from number 8 out of respect towards Kobe. Unlike Paul George, who thinks he should go back to 24, but that's a different story for a different day. But Spencer was going to come to the Lakers in the trade that would send Kyle Kuzma and Danny Green to Brooklyn. Because Kyrie and KD think, that Brooklyn needs more, veterans, and they like Danny Green, but Kuzma also gives them that young talent as well. And the Lakers were also going to get a trade exception from this trade. So Spencer and a trade exception was going to LA, Kuzma, Danny Green to Brooklyn, and then the Lakers also had a trade for Alex Caruso, which they were going to send him to Toronto for a first-round pick, which then the Lakers were going to flip that first-round pick for a forward, from what I have been told, possibly could have been the other Morris brother, Markieff Morris, who's playing for the Detroit Pistons right now. So Markieff Morris, Spencer, and a trade exception to LA, Kuzma, Danny Green, Caruso to Toronto, Danny Green and Kuzma to Brooklyn. That was on the table during the trade deadline on last Thursday. That trade was almost completed because Brooklyn would have given the Lakers the thumbs up, let's do this trade. The Lakers pulled out of that trade only because Darren Collison went out of his way to tell the Lakers, because the Lakers were having dinner with Collison that night. The Lakers were having dinner with Collison that night because Jeannie and Rambis and Pelinka were assuming and were under the assumption that Darren Collison was in the back. That Darren Collison on Sunday was calling them to tell them, let's sign this contract. Not that he was going to stay retired so he could stay with his family. So when Darren Collison calls you and says, whoa, why trade for Spencer? I'm on my way. I'm coming. I'm getting out of retirement. I'm walking through that door. I'm going to be a Laker. So don't trade anybody. I'm on the way. Of course, Jeannie responds to Pelinka and says, no. Don't trade Kuzma, because I love me some Kuz, even though he's probably getting, thigh deep into Vanessa Hudgens. Don't blame him. Respect your Kuz. That's the one thing you've done this season that is a huge dub. But don't trade Kuzma. Let's keep him around. And we got Darren Collison on the way. Why are we going to give up Danny Green and Kyle Kuzma when we got Darren Collison coming? So the Lakers pull out of the Kyle Kuzma Brooklyn trade. And of course they keep Caruso, because why even make a trade if we're getting Darren Collison anyways. So Darren Collison is already hanging out with the Laker officials that same day. Jeannie and Rambis take Collison out to dinner. They bring him to the Laker game. They're under the assumption that this is getting done. This guy is going to sign. He's going to unretire. And they thought literally by this week that Collison may have made his Laker debut tonight in Denver. Fast forward to Sunday, and this asshole comes out and says, I'm not going to unretire. I'm going to stay retired and spend time with my family. and a Jehovah Witness closes the door on the Lakers. Now, I think the Lakers would have given up a little bit too much there with Danny Green. I do like Danny Green. I think Danny Green's going to come up clutch in the playoffs. It's only a 2-year deal. But Spencer would have added the Lakers the point guard that they desperately needed, the shot creator, playmaker that this team needs. Now they're in a position where we're thinking about signing, Dion Waiters? J.R. Smith? That's the position we're in right now. And that's if they do anything, because I think the Lakers really prioritize the chemistry they have. Now, at the end of the day, I didn't expect the Lakers to do anything anyways, and I just, after what happened, after the tragedy that happened, I put myself in Pelinka's shoes, and wow, you just lost your best friend and your goddaughter. And now, a few days, a week later, you have to shut that stuff out and now run one of the biggest teams in all of sports. Not only are you trying to be there for Vanessa and the Bryant family, you also have to mourn and deal with the fact that your best friend is gone, your goddaughter's gone, but now you have to but shut that off and try to negotiate trades with all the other teams around the league. The Lakers have the smallest front office in the NBA. That's nothing to brag about. They really need to add other voices in that front office, because this is the problem. Pelinka is our president and our GM, and I think he's done a fantastic job. He's surprised me. He's very much surprised me. But when things like this happen, you need somebody else to take the reins and work at this, because when you have the smallest front office in basketball, it's a very much Lakers are a family-oriented job. And when a tragedy like this happens, it's hard to keep that ball moving. So I don't blame them for not making a deal. I don't blame them for just making a deal for the sake to make the deal. At the end of the day, whatever happens at this point. Either this is the team we have, or there's going to be other moves to be done. I don't know. Personally, I really don't know. If it's Dion Waiters, this is the same guy that overdosed on edible gummies. If it's J.R. Smith, this is the same guy who cost LeBron James a game in the NBA Finals 3 years ago. If it's Reggie Jackson, even though Reggie Jackson is probably going to be a Clipper, and he's best friends with Paul George, playoff P, who really showed out last night with his 11 points against the Sixers. Good job blaming the ref, Paul. Nobody blames you. And that's a different discussion for a different day. I can't wait to have that podcast when I go off on Paul George. Talk about a scum. But we'll get into that a different day. Paul George may be the fakest player I've ever seen in my life, honestly. But we'll talk about that a different day. I don't want to show any hate here. Paul George makes me laugh. I'm gonna call him a scumbag, but he's not a scumbag. He just the way he carries himself and how he tries to blame everybody else. The dude is such a liar. But that's a different story for a different day. The Lakers really are just in a weird predicament right now. Would I rather have J.R. Smith over Troy Daniels? I know a lot of Laker fans would. Or Dion Waiters? I don't know. Troy knocks those shots down when he gets the opportunity. But so does J.R. Smith. But J.R. Smith hasn't played in 2 years. Dion has played, 2 games max this year? 1 game max, because they suspended him a couple of times already. He showed up supremely overweight. He is a former Pelinka client, so that's why the Lakers may have the insight on that. But does Dion Waiters bring anything new that the Lakers essentially need? He's a shot creator. On any given night, he could probably give you a quality 16 points per game. If Dion Waiters really bought in or really cared about basketball, and I don't think he does, but if he really cared and he really bought in on a championship team, he has the potential to be as good as Lou Williams. Because that boy can score. Go look at his highlights when he was balling in Miami. Go look at his highlights this last couple of weeks when they played the Clippers. When that dude puts his mind to it, he's a scorer. And he can put the ball in the hoop. The problem is, this isn't his first rodeo. This stuff that happened with him just happened a few months ago. This isn't like Dwight, where it's like, with Dwight, it was like, there's a history. But Dwight hasn't really done anything bad in a few months. And he bought into but Dwight's been in the league way longer. Dion's still relatively young. I think he's only 28. I think at the end of the day, we might have to sign J.R. Smith. Because he's been there, he's done that. The team chemistry isn't going to suffer with JR. He'll buy in. He's always going to listen to LeBron. He's a bigger body than Dion, even though he's food on defense. It's just, right now the Lakers are in a little predicament. Should they have made a trade? Yes. Should they have not put all their eggs in the basket for Darren Collison? Yes. Should Darren Collison never be allowed to watch another Laker game at Staples Center ever again? Yes. It's going to be interesting, though. I really don't know. I mean, obviously Milwaukee is the favorite right now, hands down. But Toronto, 15, 14 wins in a row? 40-14? Jesus, man. If I am a star free agent, there's only four teams. There's only two teams that I want to play for right now. Because I can't go to LA because they already have their 2 stars. And I'm not going to take less money. But if I'm a star player and I can get max money, the 2 teams I desperately want to go to right now are Toronto and Miami. Because Toronto probably has the best coach in the NBA. They probably have the best young player, relatively young player entering his prime in Pascal Siakam. And they probably have the best general manager of all in basketball, Masai Ujiri. Kawhi probably would have been set for to be in the finals this year again if he would have stood in Toronto. Because Nick Nurse is probably a better coach than Doc Rivers. Here's a guy this is a team that lost Kawhi Leonard, and they have a better record than the Clippers. They replaced Kawhi Leonard with Rondell Hollis Jefferson on a minimum deal and Stanley Johnson, and they're 40-14. I would also be interested